So I want to go through a little bit of detail on the difference between the femur and the humerus. The first thing, just looking at them, the humerus is a lot smaller and a lot thinner. The femur, because it's in your leg, is carrying a lot more weight, so it's going to be longer and it's also going to be a lot thicker. So the other big thing when we're looking at the details of the heads of the humerus and the femur, if you look at the humerus and the head of the femur, they are both round because they're both going to be ball and socket joints. But the big thing here is that the femur head, the femoral head, is a lot more prominent. When you think about the ball of a femur, it almost looks like the ball of a hitch. And then the ball of the head of the humerus almost looks like a partial circle, almost looks like it's not complete, where this one really looks like you could just take off the ball completely off. The neck is the other thing. The the femur has a much more prominent neck, where the humerus is a lot less prominent. The other thing that you're going to notice is these large bumps, right, on the humerus and on the femur. On the femur, they're called trochanters because they're much larger, they're much more prominent, they're a lot easier to see. On the humerus, they're called tubercles because they are still going to be these little projections. There's going to be these little bumps. You can see them there, but they're not going to be as prominent. So once again, trochanters versus tubercles. The other thing to look at on the humerus versus the femur is if you look at these indentations on the back of them. So this little indentation here, you can see my thumb going in it, versus this indentation here. You can notice that my thumb goes all the way through it. So that indentation here is called the intercondyle fossa. So that's because on the femur, we have these condyles. So this is where basically your knee is. This is going to be sitting against the tibia. And that indentation between those condyles is much, much larger than you have on the humerus. The humerus, this little guy here, is called the olecranon fossa. It's much less prominent. So when you're looking at these, big giveaway on them is really going to be those heads, those circular heads. Once again, it almost looks like you can take the head of the humerus straight off, where on the head of the femur straight off, where on the humerus it's a little less prominent. So again, larger head, smaller head. Larger projections, these are called trochanters, these are called tubercles because they're going to be smaller. So that's kind of one of the big things. And again, look at the size of those. If you have one of these and you're able to pick it up, put it up towards your arm or your leg. If it looks like it's too long for your arm, it's probably the femur. If it looks like it's too short for your leg, it's probably the humerus.